Welcome back to Getting Some Head, baby. I'm Michael fucking Rainey here with my buddy, Mr. Tubbs. All right, Tubbs.
Oh, I'm good.
See you, brother. Jeff Simmons working the ones and twos. Tubbs, man, I can't believe you're here. You're one of the most sought after guests, and I know more than ever now. I see you. People just want you more than ever.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to get people ask. They're like, "Yo, can you come do my podcast?"
Yeah.
And shit. I'm like, "Oh shit," because, dude, I say this every podcast I'm on. I say this shit all the time. It was you and Tim, like, "Yo, who are boys that are fucking losers that are successful?" You know, and boom, I was like the third guest in that bitch, and it turned into, you know what? That was like 2019, bro.
Oh my god, man.
Yeah, it was before the pandemic, because then I did one during the pandemic at Spud's house.
Yeah.
And they were fucking fireworks were crazy. Remember, fireworks were free for a while?
Yeah.
They were going nuts. But when we were inside, they were going nuts outside. Yeah. But it's crazy. It turned into, it's, you know, the love's awesome, dude. I love the love I get, especially on the Instagram and stuff like that.
People love you, man. I know people are excited to see you, man. And chat, if you have anything you want to add, feel free to pop off. I have questions for Tubbs, but I'm also going to be taking questions from the chat. So we're going to do a regular-ass interview, and then Tubbs is gracious enough to stick around for an After Dark episode. And, boy, I cannot wait to see what comes out of your mouth, Tubbs.
I heard we talk about pussy on there. I love talking about pussy.
Love pussy,
yeah.
And it's like nobody loves their wife more than you, and there's nothing more admirable than that.
No, she's tittied out, boy.
Yeah.
Love her.
Dude, one of the things I want to ask you is your titty recipe, because I saw you mention it on Workforce Titans, and I got to hear it again because I know some people might not have heard it there, and it makes complete sense to me. But Tubbs, first question I want to get into. When you first got into plumbing, did you imagine getting to a point where you're at now?
Yeah, so I was telling my high school teachers I was putting Roto-Rooter out of business, baby. I was on it. You know, and then what really sold me was when I worked at the supply house, and the owner of the plumbing supply house used to tell me all the time, like, your mother's a Jew. You got that going for you, kid. Mm-hmm. Keep at this shit, you know? So, yeah, I always had, from the jump, I was going to own some shit, bro.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And, yeah, started plumbing in 2004, and in 2014, I started my business.
Sick, dude.
And then 29 months to gross $1 million the first time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I love hearing that shit. And it's like, no matter how many times like I've heard you talk business on Dad Meat, it never gets old. Because, you know, there was one time I asked you like what you had wanted to do like after high school, and you're like, you just started working right out of high school.
Yeah, baby. I told, there was this old cigarette smoking fucking lady, Miss Yaremko, right? She was a sweetheart. There's no way she's still alive, so I can say her name, because she smoked between every fucking every period. But I was telling her like, yo, I just need a D, lady. Like, give me that 65 so I can walk down this fucking aisle and graduate. And I remember sitting at her desk like, I start roofing Monday.
Yeah.
That's it for me. I roof forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she gave it to me. I talked her into it.
Sweet
so,
lady,
yeah,
man.
got my D and got the fuck out of there. And right to work, dude. I got a handy under a blanket on graduation night by some chick, right? The cops came and raided the party. We went to some apartment in the basement. My boy took a fistful of Klonopins. And while we were, like, hiding from him, wrecking the house, like everybody was sleeping, he was, like, running room to room, going nuts. I mean, you know, when you're 17 and you take a fistful of fucking Klonopins, that'll do that to you. Yeah. So the whole time I'm like under a blanket getting handy, like trying not to just hopefully don't lock eyes with him. Yeah. You know what I mean? And yeah, I started roofing that Monday. You know, that was graduation night. Handy under a blanket.
Have you ever followed up with that lady? What's she doing now?
Oh, so it's cool. She cool as fuck. She was awesome. Mm-hmm. And I remember how nice and awesome this chick was. And every once in a while, she comes by with some dude, like people you may know on the book.
Yeah.
And, you know, looks like they're doing all right, bro. Yeah. You know, Mayfair love affair. You know what I mean?
Man.
Yeah.
Brother, that's where it's at, dude.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a near-death experience?
Yeah, so when I was some years ago, I mean, I've had a few, but probably the closest was I'm working for Clements Brothers at the time. That's where I met my wife. Her uncle worked there. And we shot a missile through an electric main on Baltimore Avenue, right? So a missile is, let
me get this fucking cat out of here, man.
So a missile is like a piston in a metal jacket that you hook up to an air compressor, and it punches through the dirt. So like if I dig a hole in your street and then I dig a hole in your sidewalk,
Oh, okay.
I would shoot a missile
All right.
from one hole to the other. The missile could make a 1-inch hole or a 2-inch missile, and then you pull the copper line through that hole.
Okay.
Right?
I assumed it was like Puerto Rican fireworks.
No. So it's this cool, big, heavy missile-looking thing, and we call it a missile because it simply looks like a missile. I'm sure that's not what the catalog says, right? And yeah, so we shoot it. We're on Baltimore Avenue in one of them houses, like, well, the Swedish band's here living in the basement, just like dudes with their dick out, like sleeping on the couch and stuff. Just one of the Baltimore Avenue fucking hipster commune houses, right? And we're outside. We shoot the missile, and it gets stuck. And now you can pop it in reverse. So we can't get it to go in reverse. So they're like, Tubbs, jump in there. They're like, Tubbs, jump in there, get the missile out, and dig another foot, and we'll shoot it again, right? Now, Baltimore Avenue, trolleys and everything. So we weren't low enough. That's where we shot it. So I finally get this thing to kick in reverse. It comes back to me. I throw it out of the ditch, and I don't realize there's a gaping hole in this steel jacket. So I grab a shovel, and I start digging a foot. I'm going to dig another foot. I'm going to shoot the missile again. I hear this noise. Like, it sounds like the backhoe bucket scraped the concrete, which when you're 5 foot deep, that's really loud because your head is at the street, right? So I hear the noise once. I hear the noise twice. It was trying to trip. It tries to trip 3 times. Okay. We shot the missile through the bottom 2 wires of a conduit that was stacked this big with wires. The 3rd time it tries to trip, a lightning bolt shoots out of the missile hole at my feet and sucks back in. So I'm holding the shovel. If it would have hit the shovel, they tell me, I don't know, 1,000,000 fucking volts. I don't know how many volts. Electric's all magic to me. But they said if it would have hit the shovel, I would have been gone. But I leaped out of the hole, and the one dude makes fun of me this day. He was like, I'm out of the hole, right? Because I grabbed the sides, and I leaped out of the hole quicker than I've ever leaped out of a hole. It wouldn't have been fast enough. It already shot out and sucked back in. But when that happened, all of Baltimore Avenue for like 5 blocks shut down. Boom, lights out. Everybody's coming outside.
Did they know it was you guys?
People were coming up to us, and we were like, well, I don't know, you know what I mean? No fucking clue. But yeah, it was a $55,000 fine that we got hit with. For doing it. But that was pretty fucking close. Had a shovel been not over here and over here, which I'm digging, so the shovel's everywhere. I'm all over the joint. Had the shovel been there and it hits that shovel, it would have arced on me. It would have fucked me up, bro. And like, it's thousands of volts. You know what I mean? Like, it's whatever it is, it's thousands of volts. Like, that's it,
At that time, were you in love at that point, or did you have your wife yet?
So that's when I was just meeting my bitch, right? Because I was working with her uncle.
Dude.
So we worked together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's funny. Every day in the truck, I used to be like, dog, once your niece is 18, I'm going to fuck her. I swear to God, bro. Every fucking day at work. You know what I mean? I used to crush them, bro. Uh-huh. And then I started fucking her, and every day where I was like, yo, I probably became unbearable because I'm, you know what I mean? I just let it happen. But yeah, that was right at the time when I was meeting my bitch and just started dating and stuff. Yeah, one of the first dates I took her on was in a plumbing van in Wildwood. And it was this guy, Uncle Jimmy, who's like nobody's real uncle. And he didn't have a lock on the door, but he had the puck lock for the actual passenger side door. Okay. So I was taking Tiffany miniature golfing, and when I put her in, I puck locked her into the van. And I never let that bitch out again. Yeah. As soon as we got in, I punched her in the mouth. I was like, this is forever, John. This is forever. You love me now.
Oh, dude, you're going to make me emotional.
But it was probably my closest. And like, I've seen ditch cave-ins. I've been in some really scary ditches. That's right where my mind goes. Like, one time I grabbed 2 shoring boards and flipped my feet out. And as soon as my feet hit the ground, like a 15-foot wall of dirt fell where I was.
Dude, it's funny you bring that up because there's times where like you'll post videos and I don't know exactly like what you're doing, but it's like you're in the ground and it seems like there might be like plywood up. Yeah. And it seems like, man, I can't imagine that's never not scary.
Yeah, so sometimes it's scarier than others. It all depends on the dirt. Like, we know what it looks like. We're confident in some walls. We're not confident in other walls, right? Sometimes you dig down and it's just hard-ass clay. It ain't going nowhere. Okay. When the clay falls, you're dead. You're toast. But sometimes when it falls, like that won't fall. But like sometimes it's just ash and rock, and it's real loose dirt, and that's just shit that. And you can't get the shoring boards. Those are shoring boards, and then we put a piston, we pump up in between them, a jack, and it's like, you know, that's safety. You know, you want to do that, obviously, right? But it's still like it's not always the safest. But it's, dude, I was born for clean water and drainage, brother. Like, this is why I'm alive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and if I die in a ditch, I die in a ditch, baby. Dude. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's what it is. I always feel like I could turtle up and bust out of there, you know? But they tell me I won't. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to haunt the pipes if anything like that would ever happen?
Dude, definitely haunting the pipes, bro. But yeah, it's I seen a dude get caved in on. And we dug him out. Yeah. I tore a meniscus. I jumped 8-9 feet straight down with no ladder, nothing. I just leaped. As soon as he got buried, I jumped in, and we dug him out. He was cool. It was like belly button down.
Yeah.
So he was talking to us the whole time, but it was like, you know, if somebody really gets buried, and you got to call the fucking fire department and stuff. You're on the news, dog. Yeah. I don't need that kind of publicity.
When shit like that happens, do guys just go back to work right away?
No, usually you break your pelvis. You know what I mean? Like usually you get smushed by dirt. This dude was cool, but yeah, like normally people are fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, this shit hurts.
God damn, Tubbs.
Yeah. But dude, life in the big city, baby. I don't know how to do nothing else. You know?
Tubbs, when you were a kid, who was your favorite professional athlete?
Well, I was a big Scott Rowland guy.
Yeah.
Love Scott Rowland.
Yeah.
Autographed a card for me. Rick Tocchet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's back in town, baby.
Yeah, I know, which is awesome.
Yeah.
He was 22, if you remember.
Yeah.
Then he went to the Coyotes, I think, and then came back
92.
and he was 92.
Yeah.
But he was 22 first. I used to love, like, Craig McTavish. Like, you got to think, when I'm a kid, the Flyers were badasses. They didn't really win, right? They lost that series against
tough.
But they were just a tough team, and the Philly stunk. And come on, Rich Kotite and shit. Like the Eagles suck. Ray Rhodes, like the Eagles were garbage. The Sixers were garbage. You know, so I was a big like tough guy hockey fan.
Yeah, the Flyers fucking ruled her.
Yeah, they were it, man. I mean, who was Craig McTavish? He was the one who played without a helmet.
Yeah,
he
was one of the
I thought
last
he was
guys,
so cool,
dude.
You know?
He got grandfathered in for that. Dude, you know he killed a guy?
Oh, that's what's up. I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, he killed a guy with his car. Yeah. And he just looks like a little skinny old man with balding fucking hair. But yeah, he got grandfathered in. I think he was the very last guy that didn't have to wear a helmet.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. And remember, like, Dan Kordick?
Oh,
he was tough as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, those were the dudes I loved,
dude,
man.
And that was a great fighting name.
Yeah,
dude,
Dan Kordick. Dude, they were badass.
Dude, the Flyers were, I mean, same thing. It's like, I'm a little bit younger, but around the same era, it was, the Flyers were at least, like, passable for a while. And then, like, late 80s is when they started, like, fall. But then early 90s, they got Lindros.
Yeah, that's when they were tough.
So things picked back up. There was, dude, one kid on my street, and this is going to lead into another question, but, like, one kid on my street was, like, the neighborhood lying dirtball. This kid, Kenny. Who's God bless his heart,
always
man.
A Kenny.
Yeah. And we love the Flyers, but, dude, he would just lie about fucking everything. And it was insane. And one day he had a Flyers jersey. It was like it was orange up here, but like the white body. And one day he comes back wearing, he's like, look at this shit. I was like, what are you talking about? And he turns around and it said Berube, like fucking whatever Craig Berube's number was. And he's like, yeah, my sister went on the Flyers cruise because they used to have a cruise that you could go on every year. And he's like, yeah, my sister went on the Flyers cruise and he markered in his name and number, which was bullshit on its own. But I looked at the back of the jersey closely and Berube was spelled wrong. So it's like, Kenny, if you're going to lie about this shit, at least spell it right.
Dude, I had a John Runyon jersey that was spelled wrong when I was in high school. And my friends used to be like, Runyon, when they see me. And it's like, yo, like page one of not getting pussy is walking around in an offensive lineman jersey in fucking high school, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, I had a bootleg John Runyon thing. I was always at Foreman Mills, bro, getting bootleg fucking sports shit.
Oh, it's Foreman Mills is the best shit, dude.
Foreman Mills.
Dude, Tim and I went there, I think it was maybe last summer, and they had a sign up at the time, which might be a constant sign, but the sign said there's a certain recall on these specific shirts they had, which have been known to cause cancer.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah. You know, so do Doritos. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? I'll wear that shirt.
When you became a dad, did you feel like the role came natural to you, or did you feel like you had to ease into it?
Yeah, nah, so I was same thing, man. I was born for that shit. Like, I'm definitely was like a natural thing, but I also say that because my wife is so good at being a mom, right? And I had it easy. Like, I didn't change too many fucking diapers or give too many baths. You know, I had it fucking smooth. I had it real easy. So that's why it was definitely easier and definitely natural. But like, I'm just like, I was the best uncle when I was a kid. Like, I had nieces and nephews. I have a lot of Puerto Ricans in my family. So my nieces and nephews were born when I was like 8. That's how that shit goes. You know what I mean? Like, you're an uncle and you're the same age as I have a nephew the same age as my wife. You know what I mean? Funny. But it's like, so I was already like the coolest uncle and shit like that. So being a dad was pretty fucking easy. And I love horsing around. Yeah. You know what I mean? But Dawn's not allowed to call me dad right now. Dawn's got to call me Matt because on Sunday morning I woke up, I fucked his mom, I made her breakfast, then I smoked him in Madden. Yeah. And I'm like, dog, this is stepdad shit. Yeah. I was like, I'm Matt today, Dalton. You don't call me dad. I'm fucking Matt. So all weekend I kept telling him, I was like, yo, brother, you don't got to call me Mr. Leach anymore. You can call me Matt. I'm going to be sticking around for a while. So we might as well get fucking used to each other, bro. I've been telling him, dude, being a stepdad is so much funner than being a real dad. And I've been stepdad for like a couple weeks, dude. I've been playing this shit up with my kids.
Hey, like, your dad stepped up.
Yo, it is so awesome to be a wigger stepdad, bro. And it's like they're really my kids, but I like acting like they're not and treating them like stepkids. You know what I mean? Dude, it's awesome.
What a nice little mental vacation that's got to be.
Yo, it's great. I just check out, like, you know, call him big guy and shit. You know what I mean? Oh, it's great, dude. Dalton got mad the other day.
Oh my god, dude.
I gotta tell him, do not call me dad. It's Matt, brother.
Yeah, you know when you're gonna pull that lift the moratorium, let him call you dad again.
I mean, you know, we'll see. We'll see how long the run is. I could see it was really bothering him by Monday afternoon. I could see he had enough. So, you know, maybe I'll throttle back a little bit. I try not to dig too deep, but dude, smoked them in Madden. 21 them. I was like, yo, this is stepdad shit. Yeah. I'm going nuts. So I'm very shifty in Madden. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just very shifty. And, you know, the kid's so predictable.
You posted something, and I could tell by the look on his face that you were whipping his ass.
Oh, my God. I'm like, you can't abandon the run. Tiffany's like, why do you torture him while you're down there? He cries like every time. And as soon as I see a tear, I let it rip, bro. Like, you can't cry over a video game, bro. So as soon as I see a tear, see he's getting mad, I lay in on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that motherfucker, boy.
Ooh, baby.
Well, yeah, it came out, so it's natural.
Yeah.
Being a dad, totally natural for me, dude.
Tubbs, could you hand me an NA out of that cooler? Thank you, baby.
Yo, your NAs blew up on my deck. So wherever we were last time I bought you these exact things, I went home with them in my cooler bag.
Okay.
We had them on my deck over the winter.
Yeah.
They exploded on my siding, dude.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, them Jones, I had to power wash it all off. I was like, where the fuck did these come from? Yeah. And I was like, Rainy, you bastard.
Yeah, what were we doing?
I think it was when you came and did you did the first Workforce Titans.
Oh yeah.
And I remember I stopped on Yard York Street to get you those. And yeah, they blew up on my deck over the winter. Bastard.
These are tasty. These are the closest to real beer that I've had. They taste like IPAs.
Yeah, I think I told one time I drank like out of a flask all night, and I just cursed at Tiffany the whole way home. She was pregnant with Dalton, so yes, being a dad came natural. And I cursed at her after a wedding the whole way home. I slept in a car. I was fucking a real mean guy that night, and I'm normally not. Yeah. And for like one day, I drank like non-alcoholic beer, and I was like, "This shit's gay, bro. I'm going back to drinking. Yeah. You're gonna have to deal with what you got to deal with, you know." But for like one day, I was like, "Maybe I should get my act together. She's pregnant, you know." Fuck that.
Woo, baby. Tubbs, if your dog could say one thing about you, what do you think he would say?
Oh, I hate these fucking dogs. So, my old dog, Howie, it's hard. You can't get a second dog. You can't get after your dog, the love of your life dies. Now we got these 2 Amish experiment dogs. They're ugly as fuck. They chew on each other. They're super annoying. I would say they're just they would just be like, that guy's an asshole, because I never really have nothing nice to say to them motherfuckers. Like they're they stink, because I miss my other dog too. You know what I mean? But still, you know, I don't hit them like my dad used to hit the dogs, but but yeah, I guess they would just say that guy's a fucking prick. There's no way. I don't give off loving attention to them fucking jerk off dogs.
Who wanted them, the kids or Tiff?
It was me.
Yeah.
That's the fucked up part, is I was like, dude, this house needs dogs. And I had a St. Bernard when I was a kid that was a St. Bernard Border Collie mix, and his name was Bernard. Right? But he was the coolest dog, so I was like, yo, let's get like St. Bernards. Then Tiffy sees mini St. Bernards. Basically some fucked up Amish experiment. Retard dogs, right? Inbreds. So we drive out there, fucking all smoke and mirrors with them Amish, dude. They're smiling in your face. They're crooks.
Little bastards,
Sneaky little bastards. And boom. You can't go see dogs if you don't want dogs, because puppies are fucking adorable. And then puppies grow up to be ugly, mangy mutts. So, yeah, we went in the puppy corral, and the biggest one and the littlest one. And next thing you know, I left with two fucking brothers, Marv and Harry, dude, the wet bandits. Yeah. You know, they're kind of growing on me a little bit now. They're like 2. But, yeah, I don't show them. They don't fuck with me. I don't show them no love. If I go upstairs, they won't come upstairs. If Tiffany they follow my wife everywhere.
Are you stepdad in the dogs too?
Yeah, I've been stepdad in the dogs since we got them, bro. The stepdad energy's been on the dogs since day one. Fuck them.
Call me Matt, motherfucker.
Yeah, well, yeah, fuck them dogs, dude. You know, I miss Howie. Yeah, Howie's my first kid. Like you get a real dog out of a swimming pool in North Philly for $500. Like that's how you get a dog. Not in some fucking farm in Amish land.
I've never heard that before. You can buy dogs, like people just sell them out of pools?
Yeah, they have puppies.
Like a little baby pool?
Yeah, then the baby pool's in the basement. You roll up, yo, Pito, you know what I mean? Fucking Pito selling dogs, $500. I've seen dudes on the boulevard like, got blue noses, like holding pit bull puppies, bro. That's how you get dogs.
Oh, man.
Yeah. You know, and fuck that. Fuck that. Oh, go rescue a dog. I don't want somebody else's trash, bro. I ain't rescuing a dog someone tied to a pole, bro. All right? They tied that dog to a fucking pole for a reason. You know what I mean? Don't make me have to tie him to a pole. Fuck that.
Tubbs, you're getting a lot of Tiffy and Tubbs forever in the chat, man.
Oh, forever, baby. We write that shit there. I got that tattooed on me.
Where is that?
It's like right here. So when I got it, I was like, write it like a Puerto Rican girl wrote it on a pencil case.
Yeah.
So Tiffy grabbed a piece of paper, stuck her tongue out, hit the fucking Tubbs and Tiffy forever, and I got that joint inked up on me.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that's my bips, dog. I'm in love. It's awesome. That's I just get. So I told Dalton in front of all his baseball friends on the way here, because I walked by to the gate where they were the dugout to say bye, and Olivia keeps saying, "Where you going? You're cheating on mommy. You're cheating on mommy." So I walked over and I was like, "Yo, Dalton, I'm out of here." And Olivia was like, he's cheating. And I was like, dog, 2 Christmases. I fucking rolled out. Yeah, I'm cheating. And now you're going to get 2 Christmases, Pop. I took care of you. You know what I mean? I got you, fat.
Tubbs, I got to give you a lot of credit. I think the last time you were over my house was February 2014. Probably the worst fight I've ever had with my wife. It was over a broken sink. The wheels fall off. I 100% convinced my relationship was over. She was saying, I'm moving out. I was looking at houses, and I called you over, and you not only fixed the sink, as luck would have it, you also cleaned the pipes of my relationship.
Yo, that's what's up. Yo.
Dude, I truly cannot thank. Look, I got her name tattooed on my wrist a couple weeks ago.
That's it.
That's how good things have been since that point.
That's awesome.
And I can tell you with absolute sincerity that act of kindness, you coming in, fixing that problem, alleviating that, allowed me to move forward and just start to address real fucking issues that weren't just like home-based things.
That's awesome. And I said this, we talked about this on Dad Meet one time, but like, it was lucky for you and Jamie that month was domestic violence discounts at Mr. Tubbs Plumbing. Like that fucking month, we were blowing the doors off with domestic violence discounts. And thank God we were just looking for anybody to hit their wife so we could come put a faucet in for them. And it was you, baby. Like, you know what I mean? And dude, when I walked in, Everybody was looking in a different direction, bro. Yo, every kid was looking in a different direction. Mike was totally disheveled. I don't think Jamie was here. I think she had enough of the shit. She rolled out. But it was like, I could see the kids even hating you. I don't know what you did, but like the moment I could see the kids were like, ooh, motherfucker. But yeah, it was definitely something going on, bro. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Yo, the best part was that faucet, look, they're always giving that. I don't know if I should say this on here, but the Habitat for Humanity is always given, right? So those faucets were for extras from a job I did for the Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, nice.
So the Habitat for Humanity is always
Oh, man, yeah. Thank you, Habitat for Humanity.
Jimmy Carter, brother.
You're going to be doing plumbing when you're 98 years old, dude.
But yeah, they were extras from a house, and boom, I was like, Mike, I got you, baby. I got one of these extra Kohlers.
Bro, I can't thank you enough. Truly, like, the past fucking year and a half we've been together for fucking 25 years. The past year and a half has been the best time in our fucking relationship. And I can say with absolute certainty that, like, she's my best friend.
That's awesome.
And, like, the year and a half that, like, we've just had, I didn't think was possible at just about any other point in my relationship, man.
Yeah, that's the shit, because I say it all the time, like, the only person I always want to be there is my wife. Mm-hmm. Like, I love hanging with motherfuckers. I'm a social guy.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't want to do nothing fun without her. Mm-hmm. Like, because she's the funnest person in the world. Like, I'm lucky as shit because she's just, I mean, that bitch is a blast.
Yeah.
She always wakes up with, like, a bruise. She falls up steps all the time. Like, she's just funny. She's hilarious. Dude, this one big shot chick, like, real big shot in a certain place where she is. Mm-hmm. Very important person. Like, you see her on the news and shit. And she said something like, well, I guess I got to sneak in the house. We're at this like house party. We're all swimming. And she's like, I got to go home and I got to like sneak in and try to flick on the lights and not wake anybody up. And
fuck that.
And Tiffany screams from the pool. Tiffany's like, you need to sneak in and flick that beam, bro. You know what I mean? Like, yo, my wife just told somebody of her stature to jerk off when she goes home. Like, you know, I just love her. Like, she's the best chick ever. Like, she's great, man. She's so much fun. So yeah, I get it. I'm right there with you. You know, right? We're lucky guys, bro.
Yeah, it does. It makes life exponentially easier. And for me, the craziest part was, I think that needed to happen for me. At that point, like, that was no doubt a turning point. And it's like, I get everything I want now, because for the longest time, you know, one thing that I would bitch about, which might seem trivial, but to me it's a big thing, is like having home cooked meals. Like, that kind of shit means the world to me. And now it's like I get it 3 times a fucking day. And it was, I'm telling you, that fixed faucet.
That's awesome.
Is the turning point, is the reason why I get 3 cooked meals a day.
Yeah, and she's tittied out, bro.
Yeah, God bless her heart, man.
Yo, why do women have giant jugs? To nurture, baby. You marry a big titted woman. You fuck chicks with fat butts. That's cool. Yeah. But you marry a chick with jugs, dude. You marry a loving, caring nurturer. Yeah. Like, the most important bitch in a village has the biggest titties, bro.
Jugs are reflective of a big heart.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. The third jug.
Oh, man. A special shout out to all the big titty ladies in the chat, man. Just please, if you're a guy who has a big titty wife, just please
take care of her.
Stop watching the podcast right now. Go into the living room
rub
and
that bitch's feet.
Yeah, tell her you appreciate the third jug and just give her a foot job.
Yeah, rub that bitch's feet, dude.
I was going to ask on After Dark, but I might as well ask it now that we're talking about jugs. But on Workforce Titans, one of the funniest podcasts out there, you mentioned a very specific recipe for developing big jugs in chicks from the Philly area. Can you elaborate upon that?
So when you first said it to me earlier, I was like, "What's going on?" But now, yeah, it's
Capp hot fries.
It's not hard to remember. So, dude, I always say, because my bitch grew up eating out of the corner store, bro. You know what I mean? If it wasn't fucking, you know, Spam and noodles at home, it was Andy Capp's hot fries and Huggies. And Huggies don't have flavors. It's red, right? What flavor do you want? I want red. So Andy Capp's hot fries, Huggies, fucking, you know, Chico sticks, all that shit. That's the recipe for big titties in the hood, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You got to be on that corner store diet.
Yes.
You know, and it works, dude. It works. And it get, you know, oh God, I love just a ghetto loudmouth bitch jugged up with like dust on her fingers, like Cheeto dust. You know what I mean? Oh, I love it. I love
Dude,
it.
there was a point yesterday, God bless my wife. I was getting my dick sucked yesterday, and she was perpendicular to me. And I normally keep my phone above me just when I'm laying in bed, and I didn't have it there, and I'm searching for it. Then I realized it was across the room, but I wished I could have taken a picture of that moment because it was one of those images that you just spoke of where it's just like the hair's a fucking mess, shirt on, nothing else, just butt out, just titties hanging out, and just the perfect representation of beauty.
Yeah, that's it. And like, dude, isn't it cool to still get fucking blown after all this time? I've been with Tiffany 16 years, and like the other day, we have days, and whenever we have days, like, because we're very busy people, and we definitely have our moments where we're fucking just stressed the fuck out, and we always take care of each other. We always look out. But one thing we do is we go to the bar at like 2:00 in the afternoon. And we get ripped, right? Like, we get doubles of everything. Like, I might puke. And it could be like a Tuesday or Thursday, but we do it whenever one of us is having a bad day, we do it. And we went out like a couple Thursdays ago. She knew I was having a moment. I had some stressful things happening at that time. And we go to a cigar bar in Conshohocken we love. We go to another bar. We're driving home in the truck. And she goes, "What are you looking at me like that for?" I was like, "Looking at you like what?" And she just sucked me off while we were driving.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to duplicate this fucking look in the mirror, whatever it was, ever since. Like, what did I do to get that fucking blowjob? Like, how do I look at her like that again? You know what I mean? But she just knew I needed it. And all she just like, "What are you looking at me like that for?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, am I looking at you sexy?" You know what I mean? And she sucked me off in the truck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, that's 16 years later. I'm still getting treated that way.
Dude, it's
living the life of a king, bro.
And I it's clear to see that, like, I think they recognize, like, when you'll do anything for them, I think that's when you're most likely to get sucked off in the middle of the day.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And she really went to town, boy.
Yeah.
You get Tiffany a couple drinks, she's fucking on it.
Yeah.
She can suck a dick, boy.
Here, brother. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of always been, even when things were not at their best, like, for me in my situation, like, even my wife's like always up for that. Like, all I got to say is, "Hey, can you help me out with something?" Yeah. And, we meet upstairs and then everything's taken care of.
Yeah, bro. I randomly, like, not that long ago, the Royal Rumble was on. Whenever that was on, my like nieces and nephews, they're grown-ups, they're adults, but they're all downstairs, and I was like, I'm going to bed. We were drinking for 3 days straight. Tiffy snuck upstairs. She was like, "Yo, you better be quiet," and just blew me real quick, went back down, and started cheering for the Royal Rumble again, bro. I was like, man, like, and I was just up there trying to catch a nap. Yeah, dude, it's cool. She, you got to take care of your, and, we're providers, dude.
Yes.
We're fucking any means necessary guys. Yeah.
I told my wife today, because we're getting ready to move to Austin, and I have a very specific plan of what I want to accomplish, and I have no doubt that I'm going to get there. But then I also like reassured her. I was like, "Look, at this stage of the game, I'll sell crack if I have to.
Yeah.
We're going to figure shit. We're going to get everything that we want checked off."
Yo, we don't complain about work.
No.
Some dudes come home and they fucking whine because they work too hard and shit.
No.
And they don't get no blowjobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to suck a sissy's dick, dude. You know what I mean? Like, what fucking kind of chick wants to suck some sissy husband's dick? Some whiny little bitch.
You're never going to believe what this guy said.
It's
like, all right, man.
Dude, it's just because I got a new watch again, right?
Nice.
And fucking nothing's better than getting a fucking brain with a Rolex on.
Oh, dude.
You know what I mean? They go flapping a little bit.
That's why I got her name on my wrist. Oh, man, I love you so much, dude.
Hell yeah.
I'm thinking about you even when you're on it.
Dude, we were just in New York. I did that podcast with Shannon.
Oh,
and,
she's the best.
Figs.
Oh, I love Figs, man.
Dude, we got upgraded to the penthouse. So we go in, and listen how sweet my children are. This is how you know I'm doing a good job. We go in, and the chick, and I'm going to park the car, and I yelled at Tiffany, like, "What the fuck? This place don't have parking? You booked it." I was like, "I'll go find a lot." Check in. So she goes, "Yo, you're going to suck." Her text to me was, "Yo, you're going to suck my dick when you see what I did for you." So I come back to the lobby. Tiffy comes down. Since Tiffy paid so much for the room, dude, they gave us the penthouse, 3rd floor penthouse, right? Bang, and balcony, top floor of the fucking hotel, right? Balling as shit. My kids are so sweet. The hot Puerto Rican chick that gave us the upgrade, my kids walk across the street, buy her flowers, and bring them back, give her to her.
Sweet.
But so on the balcony of the penthouse. I got a blowjob. It was great.
What?
Yeah, then I tried getting like some puss and it didn't really work. And then I was like, yo, let's go inside. And she got mad. She was drunk. She's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, she didn't want to keep moving around. But then when I took her inside, it was sweet. It was beautiful. Yeah. You know, she's been wearing them like corduroy tanks.
I don't know that.
Corduroy, but I don't know. They're like thin corduroy, but she's been wearing these tanks, boy, these spaghetti strap johns, and just
built for big titties.
Unbelievable, baby.
Yeah.
I tell my wife all the time, when she's on her back, like slightly arched, that bitch is a 10, boy. Yeah. God, she's incredible.
Yeah, I tell her, like, I wish I had Google glasses because, like, I love looking at her.
Yeah, I'm in there.
You know,
I love it, especially when she's on her back, like titty down in a corduroy tank.
Yeah,
you know. But yeah, I got a little blowy on the balcony of the penthouse. How cool is that?
I know.
Up in New York and shit. You know what I mean?
King of the world.
Yeah, a piece of pizza in my back pocket. Living.
If you could give one piece of advice to aspiring entrepreneurs, what would it be?
Because I can give a lot of advice. Now I'm on the spot. It's a tough one because a million things run through my brain and I forget them. But it's just like, you got to be a resilient motherfucker, right? Like, you got to fuck up. So here's the thing. I never want to sound like some cold plunging faggot on the internet, like Gary fucking V or Grant Cardone. Like, these dudes are just such nerds, and all the bullshit they hit you with, like just a bunch of cold plunging fucking fags, dude. You got to eat beef liver and make $400,000 a year, or you're a loser, and your wife's gonna hate you. Like it's okay to be a ghetto piece of shit and be an entrepreneur today, right? Like, it's cool to have hand tats and neck tats. Our boy Poe is opening up another spot, right? He's the man. The person your mom tells you not to hang out with when you're a fucking kid. And this motherfucker's about to open his 3rd restaurant. So it's like, you don't have to be such a fucking dork about it, bro. You can be yourself. But it's like, you are going to lose. Like, you are going to get knocked down. Your first idea is not going to work. Your second idea might not work. Like, you really have to be fucking resilient. Like, you have to survive the mistakes you're going to make, because you're going to make mistakes. Like, I got hit with overages from Nationwide 2 years in a row. My first 3 years in business, that was like $50,000 that I had to pay back for insurance I already had that I never used because I never told them that I raised my payroll. It's a business mistake that a lot of guys will make. Like, when you raise your payroll, you got to tell insurance, because your insurance is based off of your payroll.
Okay.
So you go through a whole year, they insured you for this much for $100,000 a year payroll, but you had a $300,000 a year payroll. You have to pay that overage, even though you never used the insurance. It's a scam. But I got hit with like $50,000 in overages between 2 years, and I had to survive that. I had to outwork that money. So, like, you really got to outwork mistakes. And now, it doesn't happen easy for fucking anybody. And it's the same shit. Like, how many ideas are you on? You know what I mean? You're hoping to go to Austin and it pops, because basically you're an entrepreneur. You got to go to Austin and it pops. And then when you get the money, you got to figure out the right way to use the money. Like, I'm making a business move right now. It's in the works, whatever. I'm not using any of my money. I'm using money from a third business I have that's called Tubbaroonie Management, right? So me and Tiffany are 50-50 owners of Tubbaroonie Management. Mm-hmm. And Tubbaroonie Management is where everything's going to end up, and if something happens to me, Tiffany has an easy way to clean it all up. We have a will and all that shit. So, like, think about all the things I've said here. Then I'm a guy who has a will and life insurance and a business that oversees my other businesses. You don't have to be a fucking nerd to do this. Mm-hmm. You can still be yourself and a ghetto piece of shit and whatever the fuck, depending on the business you're in, right? Some businesses you got to be clean and polished, right? If that's where you go, that's what you got to do. But it's like, I'm about to make this move all with other money that's not even really mine. I mean, it's all my money, but like, it's not my money. So once you once you start to make things happen and once you start to get the bread, you got to make it last.
Okay.
You got to figure out ways, opening other businesses, investments, if they're called investments, whether it be properties or whatever. But you got to figure out a way to make it last. I'll tell you one thing. When I went into business and I started an IRA, first I went into business and I thought I'll never be able to afford to save money. I'm not making any money. This is so hard, blah, blah, blah. And then I was able to put into a Roth IRA. At the time, it was $5,000 a year. Then it was 55. Then it was 6. I think it's up to like 7 now. But I was able to put money in a Roth IRA. And I remember sitting there and doing a Roth IRA, and the next step up is a simple IRA. The simple IRA, you can max out at $13,500 a year. And I remember saying, I will never, ever be able to afford that. And for the last 4 or 5 years, me and Tiffany have both maxed out a simple IRA.
What was the turning point for that?
Making your money work for you, like being smart with my money, like not blow. Like I blow money now, but I didn't blow money for 7 or 8 years. Now I blow a little bit of money. I got some very expensive things that I dreamed of having. Like my 10 years in business, I bought a Rolex. But I was smart with that. When my first year in business, I went and looked at a gold presidential, and it was $18,000. And I said, in 10 years, I'm going to come back and I'm going to buy this watch. And I told the guy, and I went back to that place and bought a watch.
Did he remember?
He said, I remember you coming in. Shout out Danny's Jewelry on fucking South Street. He does all the Eagles
dude, that's
and shit,
so
right?
cool.
So I went in there and I said, in 10 years, I'm coming back to buy this gold presidential. And he's my age. 10 years later, I went back and a gold presidential is $37,000. I was like, yo, how much is the two-tone? So I went back to the price. Could I have bought it? Yeah, but it would have been a terrible idea. So I bought a watch that cost a third of that. It wasn't the dream. It wasn't like, okay, I can get this watch and this is what I dreamt of. It was a bad idea to do it. So I dumbed the dream down just for the good of the fucking group, right?
Gotcha.
And I went and I got a watch that cost a third of that, which is still, who the fuck do I think I am in a $10,000 watch, right? But I bought it. And that was my 10 years in business. And I had to dumb the dream down because of inflation and shit, right? And gold prices going up. But it's still like, you got to set yourself goals. You can't blow the money, dude. You got to be really smart with the money because you have to make it last. And then one day, if you do it right, then you can blow money. Now it feels good to go to the cigar bar at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and spend $300, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and not really worry about it. You know, that's you have to be good with the money. And that's if I could give anybody advice, it's like, you got to outwork the mistakes. Then you got to figure out the money part of it. You got to figure out the business end of it. That's the hardest thing. You know, if all I had to do was put toilets in, dog, that's easy. Mm-hmm. It's the business. It's the fucking game of whatever game you're playing. You know, mine's the plumbing.
Yeah.
You know, and now with plumbing, we own a cleaning company. We own Tub Rooney Management. We own commercial real estate. That all came from there. We made the plumbing company the bank of everything.
Okay.
So the plumbing company's the income, the bank, and then you get further and further away from that. And now it's like, you can't even sue me, dog. Like, you got to go through LLCs and shit. You know, that's learning the game, you know. So that's the best advice I would give to young guys starting out. It just takes time. Like I said, 29 months to gross $1 million. I made no money. 2 years ago, I grossed 1.5. Last year, I grossed 1.2. I made more money when I grossed 1.2 than when I grossed 1.5.
Just because of everything you had set up?
It doesn't matter how much money you make, how much do you keep? So when I teach at school, the school I teach at, I bring in a profit and loss statement where I grossed $1 million and I spent $1.1 million. I have this I carry this around with me. And I show people, it doesn't matter how much money you make, dog. How much of it are you keeping, bro? A lot of these guys that think that look like they have money, they're in debt like crazy and they're never going to climb out of it because they spent it wrong. You know what I mean? Straight cash, homie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's the difference. That's where you got to get.